escaping will cost me more than facing this like a man. And my worth isn't measured by how much I can carry before I break.
I was the invisible child, and I was the one that was never seen.
Because it's super vulnerable for me to say, here's what I need. Because what if I say that and they don't deliver?
Do I really want to do this, or am I feeling obligated to do this?
Yeah,
and then separating kindness versus guilt.
Hey, and welcome to the Living Richly podcast. It is so great to have you joining us again today. This one's going to be an interesting one. We're going to be talking about the things that we're still figuring out.
Right.
We're either going to get absolutely ridiculously silly on this one, or we're going to get very transparent and honest about what we're going through, what we're working through right now. Can you believe we are in the 4th year of recording this podcast?
That's
Crazy.
insane.
Crazy
That's
good.
insane.
It is. But it's amazing how sometimes we think we have to have something figured out before we bring it up, before we talk about it, right? We want to sound like the authority or the expert or whatever that is. That's a pretty common thing. Let's talk a little bit before we dive into what are each of us figuring out. Why is it that that's the way most people seem to be?
Great question. I think, I don't know. I think a lot of folks don't share, period.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right. Especially in my work with the Foundry. I mean, guys really struggle on this front, but I think if we're going to share, we want to feel that we're sharing competently and that we've got our shit together.
True.
And sharing mid-journey is a lot riskier, I think.
Yeah, well, and I think like share, it's like you're still trying to figure it out. So you're sharing, it feels like this incomplete, like here's I'm sharing all my incompleteness, like from my lens. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's that, I don't know. Like, it's like when I haven't got it figured out, it's like I am almost not ready to share it.
Yeah. I think a lot of us, and I'll speak, for women, we get used to wearing different masks in terms of, our everything is figured out mask, our it's not figured out, but I'm going to pretend it's all figured out. So we're not comfortable just taking off all of the masks and just showing all of our issues. But that's what we're doing today.
What I want is, where do I get my figured it out mask? I want to figure it out.
Right.
mask.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I got one of those.
No,
No.
neither do I.
No, but it is interesting because like we've seen this even with our marketing person had suggested this a long time ago that we would show up on our social media often as the authority, and he mentioned about you need to share more of the struggle, more of the, and because people want to cheer for the underdog. Now, whether that's, again, it's easy to share something that we figured out and admit to a struggle we've gone through, but to do it mid-journey is difficult. And yet, I know for me, when I have somebody sharing what they're working through mid-journey, how it impacts me and encourages me, how does it show up? When somebody does that for you, and the Foundry is a great example where guys are sharing some of those things, they're in the midst of trying to figure it out and they're being vulnerable. What impact does that have on you when you hear someone talk that way?
I think it gives people permission to show up as themselves, and it almost takes the walls down of people feeling like I'm not alone. Because I think a lot of times we look at people and thinking, and we'll use this podcast as an example. I hear people all the time that say, "Oh, I wish I could do what you guys do," or, and so many of us still don't. So when we show up authentically, and that's what this topic is about, it gives people permission that they can show up authentically too, and it makes them feel less alone.
Yeah. I think they feel heard. I think and that feeling heard gives them space to, like you said, share authentically as they are. It's a safe space.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just think sharing mid-journey is far more honest. And I mean, I would hope that people who follow this show don't see this as for people, ever see this as for people who've got it figured out. It's never how it was ever positioned. It's more for people that are on a journey, and we invite guests on who are on a journey to share sort of what they've learned so far, what they're learning in the midst of right? And I get that vulnerability right now is a bit of a marketing play for a lot of folks. Like when you say, share more of the struggle so you can get more likes. Well, okay, I get that, but that's not what this is about. This is about genuinely helping people. And I think when you share mid-journey or part of the way through, you solidify for yourself what's happening. It's almost like you crystallize for yourself in a fresh new way what you're processing, what you've learned. There's something powerful about putting it out there. Of course, with the right audience. We just choose to do it publicly in front of
I
don't know. Right audience or not. We love our audience.
Everything you say can be used against you.
It's literally going to go to 130,000 people on YouTube.
Yeah, right? There you go.
Yeah, and we have seen this where at the end of an episode or at the end of a day of recording, because we, again, typically record a number of 3, 4, 5 episodes in a day. At the end of the day, we may be both invigorated and energized by the powerful conversations and also mentally exhausted from what has been shared, right? Because it's difficult to be in that place of truly being vulnerable. But I think for me, that's a sign that we are doing it right, is because we carry that emotion into the evening on recording days for sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's such a powerful thing to do. So we're going to do that today. We have prepped a little bit because we gave warning on this, as we do with all of the episodes. And Wendy, you get to go first. And if you use up all the time, then oh well.
Probably have enough to use up all the time.
I love how whenever Rob is hosting a show and he's like, I'm going to host and maybe use it, I won't have to share. If I do this artfully, I want to
ask enough questions.
Oh, and look at that. We're out of time.
Time's up.
You're catching on. It's great. It's you go first, except in this case.
Okay, Spin Master.
Except in this case. So what is the one thing for you? What do you? I mean, I know there's only one thing at all that you're working on right now. No, I'm just kidding. I know there's probably lots of things, but what is one thing that stands out for you that you're working on right now?
Oh, so I would say for me, and I go through in waves in this, but it's overperforming out of habit and really struggling with, and it's seasonal, but struggling with the times where I feel like I need to do something out of obligation or guilt versus just because I'm a good person. So that also shows up for me, like running 3 studios. I have a hard time sitting in discomfort and not jumping in to help everything and fix everything. And part of it, I guess you could say controlling, but I don't know why I don't like that language. I feel like when I say controlling, then I feel like a bad person. But because I feel like if I don't step in, it's not going to get done. And then if it doesn't get done, then I feel guilty. And then I feel like that's a reflection on me. So overperforming for me it's hard, and it starts to show up where I almost give permission to underperformers to just stay mediocre because they know I'm going to jump in and fix everything. And I guess that could be in business. I guess it could be in personal, like relationships as well. But yeah,
I can so relate to that. I mean, overperforming is it's like if I was a one-trick pony, that would be my trick. And so I can so relate to we step in, we rescue too much, we do too much. And what I've been learning, still wish I was further down the road on this, but is when we step in and rescue, like when I step in and rescue and do for others what they need to do for themselves, I actually keep them small. They don't have the opportunity to grow.
Yes.
And then I end up, even stuff that I love doing, I end up resenting because I'm doing too much of it. And I've gone beyond I'm not sure if that's how.
It is. Yeah. And it's interesting because I was just talking to Sherry, our therapist.
We know
for the record, we don't do. She doesn't. Yeah.
And for the record, we know it's weird. It's okay.
It's okay though.
We're good with it.
We sometimes wonder like what it must be like to be Sherry and hear different things be shared by the 4 of us from different vantage points.
Yeah.
That she can't ever let on that she's heard.
Imagine how drained she is after.
Oh my God. A week of us. She's like, whoa.
Oh my God.
But I had a personal situation that came up a couple of weeks ago, and she was trying to help me identify the difference between you can still be a kind person and still not help. Kindness says, yes, I want to help, but guilt says I should help. Because my default right away was, I'm so busy with whatever I had going on that day. But in my mind, I was like, but I should help. I have to help. Where she was like, no, but you can still be a kind person, not overperform. Let that person figure out what they needed to figure out and you not jump in and rescue. That doesn't make you a bad person. But that's tied to my overperforming as well.
Yeah.
So when you say bad person, I'm just curious, is that new language for you or is that an old script?
Well, I think it's always been a script that I've never wanted to admit because I'm slowly learning how unkind I am to myself in a way that I never probably stopped to think about. And I never saw that as being unkind to myself and being so hard on myself. But with more time in therapy and more time working on myself, I'm slowly starting to change that language of, no, I'm not a bad person. And it's not even just work stuff. I mean, I use like my kids are a great example. Like I feel bad and I feel like a bad mom if I don't have things scheduled to do and organize when they're here. And I mean, they're not 5 years old.
Yeah,
Right.
But I can still be a good mom and a good person and still just sit on the couch and do things that don't involve me having to be on and performing and scheduling. So, so it's the bad person language. It's harder than I thought it was going to be to,
How are you reshaping?
Great.
Yes.
I'm great. I've just buried my soul. Now leave me alone.
Sorry.
She said she's great.
The rest of us have questions.
Yes.
Yes. How are you reshaping that language? Because it was interesting because you said it's language and you're recognizing that it was a script that you were pretending wasn't there. And now that you're seeing it, how are you starting to reshape that?
I feel like I'm starting to reshape it by learning that I don't have to necessarily earn my worth or tie my worth to doing more and being more. I can still celebrate my worth by just being who I am right now and not tying it to an agenda.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
That's not our...
I heard you and I was like, oh, that one hit hard for me. That is the work. That is like finding self-worth within, and it's so loaded and it goes across so many, like from overperforming to like the mom guilt to all of it. It's just, that's a big chunk of work.
Yeah.
So bravo on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some days I can share and like recognize it and be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because I was nervous talking about this because, and I mean, we've all gotten emotional on the show before, but there's other times where I know when I'm in that season of do, go, have to Band-Aid everything and fix everything, take a step back and be kind to myself, but then I actually talk about it. I get very emotional about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm an empath and I hold things so deeply in my soul that it just can bleed into everything else. So just trying to be able to learn that I don't have to earn my worth by checking off all those boxes, but that's a journey.
That's a journey.
It's a big journey.
Yeah.
I know for me, the version of that would be back in the day, a lot of the stuff that I would do, a lot of my overperforming, rescuing, stepping up, it was almost like penance, right? Because fundamentally I didn't believe I was a good person and that I was fatally flawed. I've talked about it before. I was trying to balance the ledger, right? Like if I do enough good things for others, if I sacrifice myself and burn myself out in the for the greater good, that somehow maybe there'll be more in the asset column than in the liability column. But no matter what I did, it was never enough. And I think I wrote recently, a social post was define enough or you'll run forever. Define enough or you'll run forever.
That's good.
Right. So like what is enough, and doing that man, doing that identity work.
It's tough.
Of who am I apart from what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it figured out. So you and I can have an
obviously.
We can.
That's why
we'll have an offside. And I'll get you. Oh, fuck.
Could you give me a check? I work best with
I'll get you a checklist. Okay.
Don't forget, you're still coming up.
Right. But I like that you brought that up because sometimes it's realizing not everything needs a solution. And because I am very solutions driven and solutions oriented, I'm trying to identify not everything needs a solution and some things need space. And that's okay to not have a solution to fix everything. It's funny when women often joke like how men are the fixers, like they need to fix. And I see that I'm a fixer as well. And I don't intend to be, but I feel like everything needs a solution. And if it doesn't, then I failed. And I almost can't, I feel the anxiety if there's not a solution.
It's interesting because my overperforming.
Do any of you struggle with that?
No,
not at all.
No, I was going to say for me, overperforming is so tied to being seen with achievement. Yes. So like I would be seen when I got straight A's or when I did well in school or I did something that my parents saw as worthy, and that being tied to achievement, it's very similar. It's just like that's where I was seen. So if I'm seen there, I'm going to keep overperforming because I know then I'm worthy, right? That's the worthiness piece tied to it.
Yeah, and I think the discomfort with leaving something unresolved, like you're talking about, like if I see something that's not right, I have this innate drive to fix it. Right? And I think the fixing thing, I think guys trend towards that more because of our lack of emotional intelligence. But that's the only move we have. But often. But really, I got present to that fixing for me when I feel like I need to jump in is often fear. Like control is fear, right?
Yeah.
Like control is, there's controlling people that are manipulative and controlling and use people. That's a different kind of control. I think what you're talking about here is just being in control of the situation or taking control of the situation to resolve it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And for me, that's when I often dig deep, I'm like, oh, that's just anxiety. That's just fear. That's just discomfort.
Yeah.
That no one else is stepping in or stepping up. So I guess I'm the guy.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you say that because right away my language starts to be like, if I don't step in, I have two thoughts that go through my mind. Number one, people are going to think I'm controlling and I'm an awful person to work with, but I don't come across as that like dick person. That's it. You know, the type of people.
Yeah.
So it's not like that. But then I also feel like bad because I'm not stepping into, and then my thought, I'm such a great, like at 2 a.m. in the morning, like
both ways, right?
I'm fucked both ways.
Right? Like if I do something, I feel like I'm being I'm overstepping and I'm being that person, I'm being that dicky person. If I don't, I feel guilty.
But then it's the perception, because perception is reality. So my thought is then people are people going to perceive me? And I've worked so hard on not caring about, when I say not caring, not putting too much weight on what people think. But then in the back of my mind, and this is where I start to be unkind to myself, but then people are going to see the perception as I'm letting the ball drop and I'm, all the things. So it's a bit of a journey.
Yeah. What's one thing you're doing now that as you're working through this, what's one thing you're doing now to kind of to push through that?
So forcing myself to sit in the discomfort. Mm-hmm. So letting myself actually sit in the discomfort, and it's so gross because I can almost feel like my breathing will start to, and then I get like, it's the physical anxiety, right? Yeah. Where you start to feel that. But then asking myself, do I really want to do this, or am I feeling obligated to do this?
Yeah.
And then separating kindness versus guilt.
Yeah. Like learning to be kind to yourself. Like the inner language, even how you describe that, it feels really gross. Like again, it's telling.
It's
like you're doing some deep work that will change everything, but it's hard. I think that's one most of our listeners could identify.
Oh yeah.
Especially the high performers that we work with. Yeah. Like what's driving the I come back to that analogy. I've used it for years with clients who describe themselves as driven. I'm a driven individual, and I look at them and I respond right away. A car is driven.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's somebody else behind the wheel steering and hitting the brakes, hitting the gas. You're not actually in control as a car. You're playing to somebody else's agenda. And so when we are driven by something, we got to get clear on what that something is that's in the driver's seat. And when we can identify it, that's half the battle. Can't name it. You can't, what is it? You can't heal it if you can't feel it. You can't tame it if you can't name it. So powerful work.
Well, nice that we started off so lightly.
Thanks, Wendy.
We're on a time slot.
We got to get to Rob.
Slow down, guys.
Slow down. We got all the time in the world until we don't.
Yeah. So, Kate, take your time. And number, what would be what's your one thing? What's showing up for you right now?
For me, Rob.
Steve was just going to run this on 2 times or 3 times.
Accelerate the audio.
I really thought about this because, like you hinted at the beginning, there's never like kind of one thing. There feels like there's multiple things, but I would say like top of mind for me, just given where Eric and I are at in the world right now in our lives, is like asking for what I want, and it sounds like a really I was like, well, that's a really simple statement, but it's not. It's a super loaded one for me. And I think just in our therapist Sherry, I was in a session with her, and because there's lots going. Eric and I bought a house, so we're going to be moving in together, and it's complicated and layered. And he's moving in with my kids, and it's like there's a lot of pieces that are coming together. So I was talking with Sherry. She's like, "What's top of mind?" And I'm like, "Wow." I'm like, we're going to be moving in. I want to make sure my kids are okay. I want to make sure Eric's okay. Blah blah blah. I want to blah blah. And she's like, "Okay, and what do you need?" And I was like, "I'm like what?" she's like, me? I'm like, I'm good, Sherry. She's like,
I hate it when she fucking does that, eh?
I'm like, what do I need? And she's like, you're so busy keeping everyone else at peace. I'm a peacekeeper at heart, and I want to make sure the people I love are good. Very like typical way that I put myself at the end. And so I was like, what do I need? And I'm like, I need everyone else in my life to be happy. And she's like, again, that's not what you need. And I was like, fuck.
Stop asking me.
Really. But what was interesting is I know what I need. Yeah. I don't want to say what I need, because if I say what I need, that for me is loaded. Like, if you ask me what I want, most people around me, I think, would say Kate's crystal clear on what she wants in life. Like running her own business, love going to the cottage, I want to travel. Like, I think I'm crystal clear on that. But when it comes to saying what I want emotionally, I am like, nope. Yeah. Because it's super vulnerable for me to say, here's what I need. Because what if I say that and they don't deliver? So what Sherry helped me figure out is that's actually control around, it's safe to not ask for what you need, because then that person can never fail you, and that person can never not show up on what you've asked for.
So it's like managing disappointment.
Literally.
Right.
But what a disconnected place to live when you're not truly being like vulnerable. But it's and I've heard it a million times before, but that session, I don't know what sometimes you hear it differently. And I was like, oh, I do this everywhere in my life. I've called it all kinds of other things, but it's this theme of that what I need is not worthy of asking for.
So without, and you certainly don't need to share what you said is what you need, but what was it like? Were you able to answer that with Sherry? And and if so, what was it like to put words to it?
No, I wrote it down because saying it was not, it's hard for me to vote. And she knows that. She's so good with that. But she told me to write down all the things that I need. And what's interesting is, like, if I read them to anybody, they'd be like, table stakes. Like, these aren't like big asks.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm asking for something.
I right away when you said about, if you asked anybody around you, Kate would,
I'm clear on what I want. Yeah.
It's like, you're very clear on your goals.
Yeah.
But that's not needs. That's not right. And it becomes that emotional. But so you write them out. Yeah. And what did that feel like to look at that? What was kind of the emotion you were feeling in that moment.
Yeah. So that's the hard part is like, for me, that feels like a selfish act.
Wow.
So that is a worthiness piece. That's the piece that goes way back in time or somewhere at some point. Blame my parents for everything. That's what we do. But somewhere.
Isn't it? It's just convenient.
Well, you fucked me up.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
I didn't do
Fucking
anything.
parents. And our kids are saying the same.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Victim.
Handing out the victim card.
Yeah.
But somewhere in there, I have a script that's pretty deeply rooted around my wants and needs, feeling dismissed, not heard, or if I have ever vocalized them, the other person has not delivered. And so I'd rather just not ask.
Do you, and this might sound silly, but did you, like when you were writing those down, did you struggle with writing down what you want? And I'm just, because you've asked me sometimes, like, tell me or what you need. And it's in my head, like I can see it and visualize it, but I can't articulate it because then I'm like, I don't know. I just know that I need something.
And that's the exact voice.
I don't know.
That was like very animated.
I felt that.
But
I felt that right in the field.
I saw you got nervous.
No, you flinched.
I flinched. Yeah, I did flinch. Yeah.
But did you find it came? And I don't want to use the word easy, but did you find pen to paper flowed with, oh, yes, this is what I want? Because I feel like I would struggle with that because I have a hard time articulating it sometimes.
So for me, when I figured out what the big bucket was, it all came flowing out. But it was figuring out what is the need here.
Yes.
And then it can all flow from that. But I write a lot. So for me, it just, like, I could write all day. But if Sherry wants me to read those out loud, I'll be like, good.
I just had an analogy of in playgrounds when you've got that big water bucket at the top and then you pull on the string and it all comes down. Like, that's just exactly what I thought of.
It is good. It was so nice to get it out, to be honest. Like, I think that's the best part is like getting it out somewhere, right? And that's why therapy's great. That's why journaling's great. That's why like being able to get it out.
Yeah, this episode is sponsored by the number 2 and Dr. Sherry. Right. But I want to circle back this whole, I thought it was selfish. It felt like a selfish act. I mean, I've heard that. I can relate to that. I've heard so many clients that I've worked with over the years when we're talking about not their business so much, but their life and how they often overperform or give too much and are so focused on external outcomes and other people that they're not taking care of themselves. And as someone who's experienced burnout more than once, I can so relate to that. How are you addressing, leaning into this whole piece of it's not selfish to actually know what I need and be able to articulate it, that's actually probably an act of incredible emotional maturity to be able to come to a place where I matter, my needs matter. I mean, I know some folks that are the opposite. They're like at the other end of the spectrum where it seems like the whole world revolves around them.
Right.
But I think everyone here at this table is probably more at this end of the spectrum where we're givers, we want to help people, and we often struggle to do that for ourselves.
Yeah, it's almost like I would say it's the same with like gratitude. It's like recognizing like my I shoulds, I coulds and replacing it. It's for me, it's literally about, okay, there's an uncomfortable moment and I'm like, okay, but hang on, you're making sure everyone else is okay. What do I want? And like literally saying to myself, because I won't say it out loud, but say what do I need here? What do I need? And being like, just even asking myself that question, I got so good at just being like, but I want to do this, boom, park. And I'm just over here. And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling it out of the parking lot. And I'm like, no, what do I need? Whether I verbalize that or not, that's the work in progress for me. But I'm getting far more present to like even asking myself in that moment, like, what do I need? Because what happens is if I can get upset, I get frustrated, or I'll be short with my kids. It's because I'm not taking care of me, right? The old like the old analogy of like, you know, your plane's going down, you give yourself oxygen first. Like that's the reset for me. I think as moms, like we've talked about this a lot. There's like this over rotation, and I have 3 teenagers living at home. They take up a lot of mental capacity. And so for me, it's like, how do I in those moments not help relieve the frustration and focus on, okay, what do you need in this moment? I need to not be in a room with the 3 of you arguing.
Yeah. I need the 3 of you gone right now.
Yeah,
go.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But I've never paused to ask myself that specific question. I would just feel an emotion. And so now it's like, oh, interesting. What's that emotion? And then what do I need? Like it's that alone has helped immensely.
It's beautiful. And I think it's beautiful when you can get to that point where you are naming it.
Yeah.
Right. And it goes back. You use that when talking about Wendy, you use that analogy there again about naming it to tame it. But to name that and to be able to now identify it. And even if you're not at the point where you're articulating that to someone else, that's a step in the journey. I felt when you use the word peacemaker, so that's a trigger word for me, because it is something. It was how I identified myself for many years. It's, you know, when my mom passed away, she wrote letters, and that was what she wrote in the letter for me was, you know, I never have to worry about you. You're the peacemaker. You'll kind of be the bridge between everybody. And I fucking hate that language, and yet I use it for myself oftentimes. And it's interesting. I have on my monitor over there. Is a sticky that Sherry had me write out one time, and maybe she's used this language with you. I am allowed to take up space.
She's used that.
Yes. And so she's had me put that on a sticky, and it sits on my monitor, and I look at it almost every day. I see it there as a reminder, oh, I can take up space. So I love that you're defining it. You're starting to recognize that. How, as you're working through that, how is it starting to show up differently, or is it yet?
I don't know if it's showing up. It's more present. Like if I can, and I'm more aware of it. And I think to answer your question a little bit about the selfishness, it's becoming more about self-care. So the language is shifting to I'm learning that I'm worthy of taking care of me. And similarly, I have a sticky on my monitor that says, I want.
Oh, nice.
And that's been really great for me. It's like, cause that's a little reminder as well. But I like, this one has like, it's an onion with a million layers.
It's a parfait.
I was going to say
parfait.
A parfait has layers.
I knew you were going to say it, so I didn't say it.
Thank you, donkey.
Work in progress.
The sticky of I want and the sticky of I'm allowed to take up space. I think when we start to fear that, and I'm sure this might be going through some of our listeners' minds, is I want to articulate what I want, but I'm afraid of how I'm going to be perceived.
Huge.
And so I think when we reach that stage in our life where we're starting to get better at identifying, yes, I can take up space, and yes, I can articulate what I want, the right people will show up for you. And the wrong people who aren't meant to be in your life, who don't support you or judge you, or what am I trying to say? You'll always know who the right people are if you're able to start being comfortable with feeling seen and heard, and not embarrassed to share what you want or, take up space.
Yeah. You talked about the self-care piece and how important that is. Like when we first launched the show, and part of my journey has been understanding that really this identity work, at least for me, starts with radical self-acceptance. And I would love to say that I'm there, but I'm working towards that more and more. I'm further down that road than I've ever been. I still struggle at times, but radical self-acceptance, and that's then followed by radical self-care. Because if you actually don't believe that you're worthy, caring for yourself is almost impossible. At least mentally, like overcoming that mental barrier that this is selfish is so strong. But when we put ourselves first, I've used this language before, if we don't put ourselves first, we show up in every relationship and every role as a fraction of ourselves, like on fumes, running on fumes, right? When we accept ourselves more, care for ourselves more, we show up more fully.
Yeah.
And then that's where radical self-actualization happens. I think that's where we actually begin to live a life of true purpose, meaning, impact.
Totally.
I just wish my problem is I keep vacillating between actualization to right back to the beginning.
Yeah.
What kind of days today? I don't know. I don't know where I'm at right now. I don't know. But what a powerful thing, like being able to say what I need. You started by saying, it sounds like such a simple thing.
It's so
but fuck, it's layered, man. And I think there's a lot of people watching right now. I can't even bring myself to tell my significant other the most basic needs because I feel like I'm being selfish. And that selfishness the lack of sharing and asking over time just breeds resentment.
It breeds resentment, and it also just like it lives in your body physically, and it shows up like, and it's not. That's not a space I want to continue to live in. You
use the language, and I'm blanking on what you said there a little bit ago about it being an act of when you do express your needs, an act of. I wish I could remember exactly what you said.
Both radical self-acceptance and radical self-care.
Yeah, and I also think it's an act of love to others. Oh, yeah. Is where I want to go with that, because as we get that ability to be able to express that, and now somebody can choose to show up, but you're giving that vulnerability is such a beautiful act of love, right? When we're able to do that with the people that matter most to us. So it's I agree. It's not. Said. This is such no. It's not anywhere close to being just so simple, right? It is such a layered
like
thing
a
to be working. It is.
But again, it goes right to this is actually fundamentally like deep identity work.
Yeah. Oh,
that's what this is, and I think that's the toughest work of all. Right.
All right, Eric.
Oh fuck. Well, I mean, I think the thing that I've talked about it on the show before. This whole transition that I'm working on of useful Eric to whole Eric. I'm currently in a season where I've been carrying. We've been carrying a lot. I've been carrying a lot, and so the mental load has been huge. And what I've come to realize is, although I've been going to brain gym and I've been putting in the reps on this front, and I'm further down. I started by saying I wish I was further down the road, and that's actually not fair, because I am further down the road than I was a year ago, 2 years ago. I wish I was further down the road, but I've made progress, and that's what has to be celebrated. But what I've gotten really present to is that whole overperforming piece. The need to be the guy that holds it all together, that jumps in and makes sure everyone's good, that when things are going sideways, rise up and fucking fix it and make sure, I'll relate to a lot of what you were saying earlier, that is, I'm still much of the time operating out of useful Eric, that I only feel that I guess a lot of my worth is still tied to being the guy who can do that over and over and over and over again. And what I've gotten present to recently, some of the pressures you and I have been walking through that we've never had to walk through together. Yeah. And I remember there was a couple times where you and I just were not communicating well.
No.
Right. So we were arguing, and that didn't feel good. No. And then there's been a lot happening in the business and with the house and all this stuff that's been happening. Yeah. And so I got really present to, you can make progress on a given front. But the right triggers, the closer they hit to home. So for me, the closer they hit to home, I've made progress. I am more comfortable now, letting people struggle and figure it out without jumping in and rescuing. I'm learning more and more to not do for others what they ought to do for themselves. And I think you could say that I'm doing that in the business more. And so there's areas where I'm seeing the growth, but I think what I'm recognizing is those areas are easier. And now that work is trying to expand into fundamentally really core identity stuff. When the stakes are high, when I use this language with you, I don't struggle when the stakes are high. So there's probably no higher stake than our relationship. Like that to me is high stakes. And then our future and everything else. And when that doesn't feel good, like I don't struggle. I time travel. It's like I go back to a previous version of myself, where it's not that I've lost all the progress. I'm conscious enough to know that struggle doesn't mean that it doesn't define you, right. Or even failing or falling back doesn't define you. But man, it's tough. I go back to old coping mechanisms. I don't want to deal anymore. I just want to escape, right? I want to reach for that bottle more, right? I just want to sit in front of the TV and numb. I want to do anything but deal, because what I'm realizing, it's not so much the workload that I'm under, it's the old wiring.
Yeah.
And it's firing again. And all of a sudden I find myself, like I said, I feel like I'm time traveling back to that insecure, scared little boy who's feels like he's always had to carry far more than is fair, but always did it because I thought that was what you do. And that's what I fundamentally sometimes believe. If I stop doing that, does it all fall apart? And do I stop being worthy?
Yeah. And and you're right. I think the part that just kind of went, oh, damn, is the closer to home, right? That we can, and this is what's interesting. We can assume that's I've got that all worked out.
Right.
I'm good there. Until it gets back closer to home, and all of a sudden, all of those scripts start to show up. And I can't imagine. I hadn't considered this with you guys. Captain Obvious here. You guys have had a great relationship for many years now, but the dynamic is shifting to now where you literally will be together 24/7. And as wonderful and beautiful as that is, it changes the dynamic. I can imagine how some of those scripts, it's like, oh, here we are. I'm still here, right? And I keep thinking of what Kelly Flanagan talked about in a number of his episodes, that we can't fire that voice, right? And so often we try to just kind of, and that's been our default, is I'm going to solve it and get rid of it. Whereas even under it with his new book, The Road Less Triggered, it's about how do you surround it and in a way embrace it so that you can now bring healing messages around it, right? The ocean, I think he used the analogy in there about salt, right? In a cup of water, you taste the salt, you put it in a lake, you don't taste it, and that's that notion.
I usually don't drink lake water.
Right. No,
we don't recommend it.
This analogy was what it is, right? Like,
yeah, sorry, I shouldn't be dissing the analogy.
but I think that probably is. Would it be fair to say that's a bit of what kind of happens there?
It's the best way to describe it for me is it's scar tissue. It's scar tissue that I will likely always carry. It takes more to get at it now. Like, it takes more to trigger it now. Which for that I'm grateful, but it sometimes can be just a very destabilizing. To like, and there's no better term than time travel. Like,
it's such a good word.
It's like I'm going back in time to that less whole.
And what's interesting is when he time travels, I'm like, I don't know time traveler Eric. I know present Eric. So time traveler Eric to me is like, who is this person across the table from me? So then I go back in time to a place where this time traveler Eric is a familiar face in my life. And then I go back in time. And so we're not present, and we're not necessarily, I would say, listening well to each other. And so we're both back in time. And it was a really interesting, when we talked about it, is like, we're like, oh, that's really interesting. This is a new dance and not one we've had before. And you're right. Like, we don't live together. And so now we have a lot of big things happening. And so it's a high stress. It's also high stress for you right now. I've had high stress in my business. So when you pile it all on, but I remember when you said after that, you're like, I time travel. Like, it for you, it almost like, and I'd love you to share, but it's like, it's almost given you like I just saw the lights go off for you. You're like, oh. So walk us through, like, when you say time travel, like, something shifted for you. I don't know if it's forgiveness. I don't know if it's peace, but I'd love for you to share.
Yeah, I think the first word that comes to mind is just awareness, like, where you go, oh, I see what's happening, right? Like, and I think that when I say it's half the battle, so many of us are living, and I lived this way for so long, where those old scripts are pulling strings, but there's no awareness. I can't connect my current behavior to an old wound or an old script that doesn't serve me well. So I just continue to repeat the pattern and because of the low self-esteem I had for so long, then beat the shit out of myself for being what I thought was a bad person, to borrow your language, right, from earlier. So I think awareness and the encouraging piece to say, okay, yeah, this stuff's being triggered because there's a lot more high stakes stuff going on. But to be aware to say, but like that, just because I'm time traveling in these instances doesn't mean that the rest of the growth, I'm not even sure the word, it doesn't mean that the rest of the growth wasn't real.
Yeah.
It is real. Yeah. It's just, it's like I can bench 200 now. Mm-hmm. Right. But now you're asking me to bench 250. Okay. Well, that's going to feel very different. And I'm not going to feel as secure, and I'm not going to feel as confident, and I'm not going to feel as competent, and I'm going to feel insecure. And so that's going to trigger all kinds of stuff that scar tissue is just going to be more predominant, right?
It's deeper. I love the scar tissue analogy and how you've got to go deeper to get it. And I'm going to stick with that one instead of going back to peeling an onion, just because I don't need to hear the two of you go into your
like a pop man?
Exactly. Yeah.
Shrek for the win.
And it will, even just like when you have a deeper, when you're going deeper to get at a wound or to get at the scar, you sometimes have to use different techniques, right? And I think, to your point, it doesn't invalidate all of the growth and the journey and everything. No, my God, if anything, it validates, because you're now at least acknowledging and recognizing that time travel. That's fascinating when I hear the two of you describing this, because how you're time traveling, but you're not together.
No, we're not in the same universe.
You're not Bill and Ted.
We might not even be in the same era. Like I might be. That's what I mean. I might be time traveling to like when there was dinosaurs.
You're prehistoric, Eric.
Well, you are older.
I am older.
You're prehistoric, Eric, and she's Western Kate. Wild West Kate.
There you go.
There, you got a couple more personas.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we talk about is like we're both grateful for the process, because even if there's times we time travel and like I time travel, that triggers your insecurity, your fear, because I'm not
1,000%.
I've worked very hard at being present in my relationships, still working on it, but you've told me that when I'm time traveling, it's a different Eric, like you just mentioned it, but I'm not as present. I'm more, because I will isolate, I will pull away.
The lights went out. I thought, I know that language.
There's the energy changes again, because I'm in a very different version of myself. And the big, I mean, I did something even today because I wasn't feeling great. I didn't even want to be here today, to be honest. Just feeling the pressure and like, oh fuck, the last thing I want to do now is go talk about it. Like, and so instead of isolate, I really wrestled with this, but I did it. I reached out on the WhatsApp Foundry group. We have a really vibrant community there, and I didn't say what I was going through, just that I'm carrying a lot. I could really use some positive vibes set in my direction. And I said, I don't ask for this often, but I'm trying to not do what I normally do, which is, again, part of my time travel is I will totally pull away and stay engaged where I need to, but I will isolate. And I just flooded with encouraging messages, and
it was beautiful.
So that's part of it, is fighting resisting the tendencies. The other piece that's really important for me, I've used it time and time again when I'm working on something, is grounding statement work. Because my brain is firing, telling me all kinds of things. My past scripts are on fire, and so my monkey brain is just this like. It's like it's a big screen TV and all these messages are just playing across it. None of those are good. I'm sorry, getting very animated with my hands if you're listening, and I almost struck my my best person.
Aww. No, that's okay.
So grounding statements. And so a couple that really helped me today is remind myself that I don't need to solve my whole damn life right now. I'll slow down before I let fear make expensive decisions. One fire at a time. Not everything needs my full weight at once. I still have options even when my mind is still spiraling. Escaping will cost me more than facing this like a man. and my worth isn't measured by how much I can carry before I break. So when I am struggling to stay centered, for me, like people call these affirmations, and I get affirmations can get flighty. Some of them are, but when you develop affirmations or grounding statements related to what you're trying to shift, they become a powerful tool. Sort of like I'm allowed to take up space.
Yeah.
Like that's actually a powerful grounding statement.
Yeah, and those are powerful grounding.
Yeah,
what you just shared were some. I felt some of those, and I would encourage those listening, if this is an area that you're struggling with, to maybe pause, go back, listen to those again, maybe write a few of those down and reflect on them, because that is. I was going to ask you, what's one thing that you're doing, and that's such a good one thing to be doing right now is just speaking truth, speaking in those grounding statements that bring you back, that maybe tether the time machine to the present, right? Yeah. And maybe that's what some of those can be, or they're not necessarily just grounding, but they're tethering and holding
the
that
time machine.
Let me share one more, because this is probably the one that useful Eric panics and overfunctions. Whole Eric gets grounded and leads.
Love that. I love that.
Well, this has been great, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. No.
Well, the beauty is
time to throw Rob under the bus, shall we?
And I will say this: we are a little limited on time, only because the cameras will start to shut down in about 10 minutes. So we'll
the cameras or Steve?
Steve
hey,
and
Steve,
the cameras.
Are you here?
I'm here.
Hey. So I think we all wrestled with this one, and the one that came to mind for me, and it came out of reading Kelly's book. The last couple of years have been probably the most successful years for me, and business wise, relationship wise, with my family, with my girls, like things are going really, really well. And it was interesting how in the midst of all of that, the inner scripts, the inner child, I should say, started to really show up more. And it was like, at first I was a little bit surprised and angry and pissed off that the inner child, like, whoa, what's little Rob showing up here for when everything's going great?
Which version of little Rob was showing up?
Well, the not okay child. Yeah, absolutely. The not okay child. And it was Kelly's book that actually gave me the language for it, his latest book, because he actually used when he shared, an experience where he got into it with somebody and the words came up: unseen, unimportant. And I remember writing those out in my journal and going, holy shit, that's it. Those are the words that I've been looking for so long. When I get angry, when I need to be, validated, when all of the stuff starts coming, up, it's that little Rob, a not okay Rob, who's saying, I don't feel heard right now. And as I started to trace, and I've been doing this in my reflection, as I started to trace back the fact that, again, I moved 17 times before, the age of 18. Like I never went to public school or high school. I never went more than 1 year to any school. So I never had, close friends growing up. Everything was always, I was never connected, which is why community is such an important value for me. But I realized that all of that, I was the invisible child. And I was the one that was never seen. I was the one, and again, even my mom writing her letter, you're the one I don't need to look at. I don't need to think about you or worry because I'm unseen. I'm not right. And I notice it even when Wendy will try to compliment me. I get very uncomfortable and it gets very awkward when people do look at me.
Yeah, when the attention, the spotlight is put on you, it's funny. It's the very thing you're longing for.
Right.
See me, but then when people see you, don't see.
Okay, whoa!
Don't look in this direction. Yeah.
And where it's really showing up for me. So that's it's interesting that's when that comes up, is when everything is going well. Yeah. Because that's when you kind of so hey, everything should be great right now. I feel good. I feel happy. All of this, and yet that's showing up. I've been using this language so often, is the curiosity before judgment. And I've been, every client meeting, like it is landing in such a crazy way for me. And I'm being curious now as to, okay, so, if I get upset, you and I having an intense conversation around something.
We never have intense
but we have wonderful conversations, actually. I think we have such productive conflict.
Yeah, we do.
But in that productive conflict, what shows up now, I can pause even in the midst of the conversation and say, okay, what's showing up right now? And it's almost always the feeling unseen or heard or not heard or whatever. Those voices start to show up for me.
So when they show up now, what changes for you? Like if you're hearing, you're getting present to it, does anything shift now for you, or is that still working?
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, okay.
Then I just get mad because I'm like, why can't you fucking
grow up, goddamn.
Well, so it's funny that you just said that because that is when I think internally, that is exactly what I do is like stop being such a baby, like grow up is exactly the language that I can use to inside is hang on here a second. But what I do when I'm mature, when I am grounded, and I often will look at that and go, and so even if I talk about us in our the business, when we're having one of those productive conflicts, for me in that moment, I can stop and go, no, Eric actually really does value me. And no, Eric, this is the not okay child speaking, not Eric speaking. And then I can pause and then I can actually then articulate. And I think one of the best compliments we got recently was having one of those productive conflict conversations with Steve around. And Steve commenting at the end of the weekend when we said, what were the highlights of our time together? And he brought up watching the two of you work through that issue together.
That speaks volumes.
We'd actually, we probably had 2 or 3 conversations like that during that time period.
And and I thought that was incredible. So that's one for me. I don't know if how that lands for you guys, if it's something that still speaks to you, but that's certainly for me the area that I'm working through right now.
Yeah, it's been really inspiring and interesting watching you go through this journey because even last year you would talk a lot about, I want to get into my morning routine of doing journaling and reflecting, but haven't really found my vibe or my flow. And just seeing you, I don't know how long it's been, but it's been at least 6 months, 6 to 8 months where you
middle of December. Yeah,
really in this this journey and this season of carving that time out for you to really get present with yourself and transparent with yourself on that inner work. And that's been very inspiring to me.
Living richly is not like we can have it all. We can, and I do. I'm in many ways I look and go right now. If there's no area of my life external where I would say this is not going well. Right. I just feel like life is going well. We've got a great thing going on. The business we're thrilled with where the business is at. I think things are coming into place and falling pieces all the puzzle pieces are falling into place. So it's all going well. And yet you can still, if you don't do the inner work, all of that's a mask.
I mean, what's almost nice when things are going well is you actually have more room to do the work, because when things are hard and tough and it's like doing the work is like one more thing you got to do and crunch through.
Well, and it's easier to say no to, I don't have time for that.
Well, that's it. And now when you're in that kind of better headspace, it gives you the room to work through it. But I think everyone can relate to not okay child and that feeling unseen. Like I think that is such a relatable place that we all get to.
Yeah. And you talk about, it doesn't matter how well the rest of our life is going. We're only as strong as our weakest link. And I will forever try to change my mind. I'm open, but your internal world, your internal life, which often for most people gets ignored, doesn't get nurtured, is really where living richly is. It's not about the stuff. It's not about, it's really about how you see yourself. It's been really cool to watch you grow in your self-confidence, owning the room, just stepping more fully into yourself over these last couple of years. I mean, that's been a journey, not limited to the last couple of years, but to watch your growth and to be able to say now, no, like I deserve to take up space and my voice matters, and to watch you owning that more and more.
And for you to speak up about that, right? Like it's one thing to journal it, which I love, but it's a whole other thing to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Good stuff today.
Good stuff.
This is.
I need a nap now.
I'm so tired.
I know. Listen, if you're listening and maybe anything here today, this conversation has inspired you, let me encourage you to take some time and reflect for yourself. What is one thing that you maybe are going through right now? Name it, so that you can tame it, so that you can start to do the work on that. Don't avoid it. Don't hide from it. It will show up eventually if you do that. And so I want to encourage you to do that.
And I might just add quickly, find a safe place to share it. There is power. It crystallizes when you are able to have that conversation outside of your own head.
Yes.
So if you can find a safe place to share it, share it.
Yeah. And if you go to our website, livingrichley.me, you will find some resources that are there. You'll see a link there to our Facebook group, which is a group of people who are on this journey together. And you're certainly welcome to join that and be a part of that as well. We want to thank our sponsor, Rhapsody Strategies.
Hey, Rhapsody.
Make sure that these conversations can happen week in and week out. And so we so appreciate that. If you're a business owner and you are working through all of the struggles internally that every person goes through and trying to lead a business at the same time, the Rhapsody team is ready to support you and to cheer you on and to be part of that with you. So make sure that you check that out as well. If this has been inspiring to you, make sure you take a moment to just share, to like, to comment. It helps us promote the podcast when you do those things, and we just want to hear from you as well. So till next time, get out there and live your best life.